go down the rabbit hole. I was a bit hesitant to do this specific subject today based on my experience this morning. But I think ultimately it's very important. Now, I don't make statements like this a lot, like the previous statement that I made. I mean, I do talk about the fact that I'm hesitant to do certain things and they're out of my comfort zone. But saying things like, I feel as if I made a breakthrough is kind of, I don't know. It is, I want to really emphasize here, guys, that all of this is theoretical. These are all my thoughts on what it is that occurred. I am, and one of the reasons why I always talk about things being theoretical and that these are my beliefs is because I am constantly humbled by the power that is out there, that the power, the expansiveness, it is absolutely amazing. And this morning, while it was a brief and a fairly simple experience, I do believe that I was able to change frequencies while I was in that middle space, which is something that I've talked about. I've talked about being able to change frequencies from astral projection to shifting. Now, I don't know that this was specifically astral projection that I did, but I want to talk about it. I want to get right into the experience that I had this morning. So, as you know, I've been obsessed with solar systems, space, seeing planets. I've always kind of thought about that. And this morning I got up, actually I hadn't gotten up. I was up really late as always, doing the Spanish thing and other stuff. And so I was going to bed. I was going to, get maybe an hour or so of sleep. So I put some storm sounds on and I was thinking to myself, well, we'll see if an experience happens. I would like to do the solar system space thing because the last time I kind of left it up to my more expansive self. And we did that whole thing with the girl with the jade eyes, which is another video that if you haven't checked that out, you should probably check it out. But so I'm laying down on my right side. Storm sounds are going on in the background. And I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about solar systems, space, that kind of thing. Then I'm letting my mind just kind of, just allowing it to just relax, not really thinking about much after putting my intent out there. And at some point, I hit that middle space. Now, this time, when I hit the middle space, something happened that I wasn't expecting. Now, this happens a lot. There are many things. This is why I always tell you guys to keep an open mind when you are doing this, because the unexpected happens. People tend to form these thoughts in their minds like, this is going to happen, then this is going to happen. If I astral project, these things are going to happen. I'll feel vibrations and then I'll go here. If I shift, I'm going to see this light. I always say, get all of that stuff out of your head, because things can happen in a very unique way. And with me, even though I had been thinking about the solar system, I put all that stuff out there. Suddenly, I was in communication with a very close friend that I hadn't spoken to in a while. Now, this friend, he hasn't passed away or anything. This has happened to me in the past. I just haven't really talked about it. But when I reach that middle space, this is another thing that I've told you guys, is that anything, I believe, anything is possible when you reach it. You can do a lot of different things. It's not just astral projection. It's not just shifting. There are many things. You can contact beings that have gone on. You can even contact people that are, I think, still alive on the planet. Now, they may not remember having this conversation or having a contact with you because we are expansive. There are so many versions of us out there that, you could be speaking to, a friend or something like that on a whole nother plane of existence. And this is what I think was happening with my friend. I hadn't spoken to this person for quite some time. And I remember saying, oh gosh, it's so good to, to see you. And, it's been a while. And I can even remember and feel, myself embracing my friend because it had been so long. And of course, we were embracing each other energetically. I wasn't in physical contact with this person. It was an energetic thing. But what's interesting, guys, if you're wondering what it's like, it does feel as if you're actually hugging someone. It's just, it looks different, but it has the same kind of feeling. It's like, my mom said that it was like hugging this person's essence. And I think that's the best way that I can put it. Again, it felt so good to be in touch with this person, but it was the furthest thing from my mind when I began this experience this morning. I wasn't thinking about contacting this friend. Once I did, of course, I was like, oh, it's been so long, and we were in touch in that moment. But after a while, what happened next was, it was like, okay, now it's time to go on. And it was something that was in my mind to move on to this thing, to go into space, to go into the solar system, to see the planets. That's what I was thinking about. Now, I went from having this conversation telepathically and with this friend's essence to suddenly rising up. Now, I could feel myself rising up. By the way, again, I want to make sure I'm specific about this. I did not feel separation. So for me, when I don't feel separation, this means that I'm going into the beyond body / shifting mode. This may also mean at this point that my frequency changed. It changed from being sort of there in communication with my friend and being stationary to being in a sort of, I guess you could say, a shifting / or beyond body / shifting mode where I was rising up, and within moments, I could feel that sense that I was weightless. Felt a lot like when I was in the void, where it's like I'm moving slowly, I'm turning slowly, as if maybe like, being an astronaut or something like that. You're just turning really, really slow. And by the way, when this transition started, once I started rising up, I also began to hear rock and roll music. Don't ask me where it was coming from. I have no idea. But as I was discussing this with my mom this afternoon, my mom mentioned this, and this is something that I've talked about before. Everything is out there. Data is out there. When we're talking on our cell phones, it's out there. It's all in space. Radio frequencies, it's all out there. And so, for whatever reason, when I'm up, when I'm going out, I am able at times to tap into certain frequencies. And I tapped into a frequency where there was rock and roll music going on. It was, it's not even really the kind of music I listen to. No offense to those who love rock. I'm just not that person. So I'm hearing this rock and roll music. I'm turning slowly, and there's darkness. It's pitch black. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, I can't see anything. I'm looking to see if there are planets or whatever, but I can't see anything. But it certainly does feel like space to me. And the other thing was, I was starting to feel what I consider to be motion sickness, which is very, very strange. I was also concerned about being able to see and open my eyes. I felt, I guess, a bit intimidated. And when I say my eyes out there. And it was those two things. And again, this is after speaking with my mom about this, and really gaining some clarity. Those two things may have been a result of me kind of pushing things a little bit too far, because transitioning and changing frequency from the stationary, when being in stationary and being in that middle space, to going up, into space and to the beyond body shifting frequency, that may have pushed things for my 3D self a little too much, at least for the moment. I think that this was probably one of the first times I think I did something like this. I mean, it really pushed me and to my limits at this point, doing something like that, making that kind of transition. Now, this lasted for a while, and then it ended pretty abruptly, actually. It stopped. I opened my eyes. And when it first happened, I just sat there and I was just thinking, like, okay, so what was this? And this is what I would advise any of you guys to do when you have any kind of experience, no matter how brief it is. Take the time to really sit and think about what just happened. What just happened? And really kind of be detailed, take it piece by piece, and really give it some serious thought. And in the beginning, I didn't think, like I wasn't in the place I am now. Again, my mother gives me a lot of clarity when I speak to her. But I knew that I had kind of pushed the envelope in a sense. And this is what I have always really said I want you guys to do. I want you guys to push the envelope. I want you guys to reach as far as you possibly can with these experiences. My belief is that we in the 21st century, and especially with the shifting stuff, we have come to kind of an evolution, really, a spiritual evolution to a certain extent, especially when it comes to AP, to astral projection, and then the shifting. It's all connected, guys. It's something that I've talked about before, and I think that we're at the very beginning. We are at the very beginning. Again, seeing things like the subreddit and the other things that are out there, things that I won't mention, TikTok, that kind of stuff. This is just the beginning of, I guess you could call it also a revolution to a certain extent. We are, I think, in the coming years going to see some amazing things. But yeah, I think we're at the beginning. It's not an accident that after my accident in 2015 that I started having these experiences. And it's not an accident that I created this channel. Again, I am so humbled by all of this. This is so amazing. It really is. And I'm so grateful to have all of you. I really am. I'd be very interested to hear what you have to say if you have thoughts about this. Thank you so much for coming on this amazing journey with me. And until next time, take care.